Hi Krishna, good morning, Rasastali.
Good morning, Hare Krishna.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanatimidamdasya Jnanat Shalak Chakshurmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivastava Gaurav Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram 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 Hare. So this is Parikshit Maharaj continuing his inquiry to Shukadeva Goswami. Please explain exactly how the different planets in the universe, along with the sky, stars, seas, mountains, rivers, and continents were created. How do the living beings attain these various destinations? Then, thinking of the Vaisheshika's interest to understand everything scientifically, he said, please describe the dimensions of the cosmos, both within and beyond our universe. Kindly also explain the scientific reason for dividing society according to the different varnas and ashrams, as well as the characteristics and activities of liberated souls who are not constrained by varnashram. Thinking of how the followers of atheistic Kapila considered him to be mentioned in the Vedas, and how people were prone to be misled by persons falsely presenting themselves as avatars, he asked, please tell me about the cynical eras the material universe undergoes, known as yugas, and the activities of the Lord's incarnation within each of them. What specific duties do they teach? Remembering how there were various opinions about man's highest duty, he asked, what is the common duty of everyone, as well as individual duties according to one's specific position in society? I'm especially interested to know the responsibilities of rulers. Kindly also explain what one should do in times of distress when it may not be possible to adhere to normal duties. Parikshit knew that the overriding principle in all circumstances was bhakti, and he wanted Shukadeva to make that clear. The king thought again of the arguments put forward by the non-devotee sages. Several of them had spoken of the importance of understanding the fundamental principles of matter, how this would enable one to extricate himself from material entanglement. However, they had not seen the connection to Krishna. Talking about Krishna connection, connection to Krishna. Knowing that Shukadeva would present this topic in a clear devotional light, he said, please describe the basic elements of creation, how they form and develop. Let's pause here. This is very, 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 very important. How anything we do, anything, how is that helping us to extricate ourselves from material entanglement? That's the reason sometimes people say, why I can't just go and enjoy sense gratification? Why I can't just get it out of the system and do this, just once? Because that one thing once will create taste. And that one taste will create you more desire to perform more of such activities. That's why, according to dharma, according to the higher principles of living and lifestyle, of Brahminical lifestyle, when we're going through good times, we sow the right seeds, which means when we're going through the right times, we invest our mind, our habits into dharmic things, into sattvic things, into devotional things, so that the right seeds sown at the right time, we'll be able to experience the harvest of those desires. Instead, in the great time of life, good times of life, if we invest our hearts in sense gratificatory desires, we invest ourselves into performing the mundane things, then we develop taste for that. We're investing in that. Same thing with relationships. If we are investing into relationships that are not beneficial for spiritual advancement, we are giving our hopes and our expectations in them, it'll keep increasing. So we need to remember this. Is this particular situation helping me to extricate myself from material entanglement? Remember Kunti Devi's prayers when she says, Krishna, please cut off all material ties with my relatives. She doesn't say cut off all ties, but material entanglement should be cut off in any relationship. And that can be cut off by reducing or removing expectations from our mind. Any comments, any questions there? So that creates space. See, if we want good things to come into our life, we need to create space for it. If we don't go and use the bathroom to go and pee, then we can't have nourishing food. You'll be constipated. Similarly, also with our mind and our energies, if we don't go and throw away what is not necessary and what is not useful for our extricating ourselves from material entanglement, so that we can make space for Krishna consciousness, we cannot digest the new information that comes, the new knowledge, new sangha. We don't have energy. The energy is lost into trivial things and worrying about subject matters that have no value. Okay? Remembering that Shukadeva had explained that the Supreme Lord can be known both by process of mystic meditation and by hearing and chanting, he asked which is best. Please also describe the different mystic powers or siddhis the yogis can attain. How do perfected yogis detach themselves from their subtle astral bodies? Reflecting on how sages were contradicting each other by citing different sections of the Vedas, he asked, are all the Vedas, including the different corollaries like the Puranas, teaching the same truth? Many sages leaned forward with interest, enthused by Parikshit's questions. Their white top knots and beards reminded Parikshit of the rolling foam of ocean waves. Becoming pensive, he considered how material life was like sailing across a vast ocean. As long as the sea was calm and the skies clear, the journey was pleasant. But when the storms arose or fog descended, the journey was perilous. There was every chance that the boat might sink and everybody aboard drown. At that time, no one could help. No one could help. Similarly, while people were enjoying the fruits of past good karma, their lives seemed pleasant. But in a moment, that could change when they were overcome by the reactions of past sins. Wow, you see, that's the point we are at. Pausing here. Kamala dhala jala, jivana talamala. Our life is like drop on the lotus leaf. That's how quick our life passes. At the same time, it is like life is like crossing over the ocean. And when storms obstruct our journey, what is that boat? It's the boat. What do we create out of our life? What did we cling to? What relationships did we invest in? What thoughts did we invest in? What emotions did we invest in? Was it, what is the boat made of? Is the boat made of gratitude, devotion, austerity? Or is the boat made of material desires, disappointment, hurt, anger, shame? What is your boat made of? So, depending on what our boat is made of, when storms in life come, what is the storm? When difficult time comes, we become overcome by the reactions of past sins. So, if we have invested our life in committing sinful activities, then we become overcome by those reactions, and we cannot. It's not easy to get rid of ourselves from reactions of our sinful activities, especially I know that during our difficult times, like say Rahu, Saturn time, it's very difficult to remain grateful, remain happy and all that. So we need to have invested in ourselves, in our right consciousness in good times. Instead, if we enjoy the fruits of our good karma, then we finish the good credits of bank account. Like that. This is such a basic principle. Okay. Any question, any comment? Somebody else like to read, take over from here? Only Krishna can help. That's a good line to take over from. Anybody? Only Krishna can help at such times. From there.
Okay, I'll read. Only Krishna can help at such times. The king was anxious to have the sage speak directly about the devotional service, but at the same time he did not want to lose the sage's interest. He knew that many of them were not yet ready for such a direct approach. Parikshit therefore phrased his next question in such a way that the sages would think he was asking about creation, maintenance, and universal inundation. His words, however, had a dual meaning which Shukadeva understood. Really, the king wanted to know what was favorable and unfavorable to the execution of devotional service to Krishna, which alone could attract the Lord's protection. Shukadeva smiled, understanding Parikshit's intention. He nodded slightly and waited for him to finish his queries. Knowing that many in the audience were interested in material happiness and salvation, Parikshit asked, please also describe the Vedic rituals for achieving life's four great aims: piety, economic development, sense pleasure, and liberation. Realizing that some souls might require many lifetimes to achieve perfection, Parikshit said, what happens to those who have not attained liberation by the time of universal devastation, both the pious and impious? How do they again appear in the world? Please also tell me about the eternally liberated souls who serve the Lord within the material creation. What happened to them at the time of annihilation? Parikshit glanced around. Many sages doubted that Krishna was the supreme person. They argued that God is good and equal to all. Therefore, he would not kill either demons or his own family. The king did not share these doubts. He was confident that the Lord's pastimes were all spiritual. Under the material energy, it would not be possible for a suckling baby to kill a terrific demon like Putna, remaining unperturbed and simultaneously reciprocating with his mother. Any ordinary child would have been killed or severely disturbed. Similarly, if all one's family members are killed, a person grievously laments. However, Krishna was unaffected. Surely then it was a spiritual pastime. The sages needed to understand this. Parikshit asked, please describe how Krishna's pastimes are all enacted under his internal spiritual potency. From the corner of his eyes, Parikshit spotted a group of sages who practiced mystic yoga intent on realizing the supersoul. The king asked, please also explain how Krishna, while always enjoying his own pastimes, is simultaneously the dissipate witness of everything that happens in his external material energy. The king concluded his questions. Kindly show me your mercy by answering these queries. Also explain to me anything I may not have asked that you feel I should know. Parikshit leaned forward. He wanted to hear Shukadeva's every word. With his lucid and powerful explanations, the saint would surely dispel the confusions presented by the sages. With folded palms, he said, I fully accept your words as perfect truth. Therefore, even though I have heard these subjects discussed previously by our sages, I desire to hear your answers, for you are the greatest authority. Like Brahma, you have personally seen the truth. Others merely adhere to the opinions handed down by speculative thinkers of the past. My Lord, by drinking the nectar-like message of the infallible Supreme Person flowing from your mouth, I do not feel any exhaustion due to my fasting. Pleased by Parikshit's questions, Shukadeva said, O king, you asked about time, and I shall shortly answer that question by describing how time is measured up by the measurement of kalpa. First, however, I shall answer some of your other queries by describing this current day of Brahma, known variously as the Padmakalpa or Varhakalpa.
Thank
Epilogue.
you.
Okay.
Yeah, okay, I think we can continue. Yeah, please.
Epilogue. As Sutta had been addressing the great concourse of aesthetics, night had closed in around them. A thin crescent moon cast a faint glow on the gathering. Shaunaka suggested they adjourn until morning and Sutta agreed. Before they dispersed, Shaunaka said, O Holy One, we know you wish to speak about the Padmakalpa. However, during our midday break, I conferred with the senior sages. We are eager to hear about the meeting between Vidur and Maitreya, which you earlier mentioned. What would you like to know? What topics did Vidura and Maitreya discuss? Why did Vidura initially leave his home? And for what reason did he later return? We are also keen to know what Vidura did while he was on pilgrimage. Sutta replied, as it so happens, in speaking about the Padmakalpa, Shukadeva cited Maitreya's meeting and conversation with Vidura. At that time, Parikshit asked very similar questions to yours. I shall recount this to you when we convene tomorrow.
Chai. I guess we will also take it when we reconvene tomorrow. Any thoughts, any realizations about this nice, beautiful chapter we read? This is nice. Okay, I think this is nice to read. The discussion we present in our prologue is the author's imagination. However, we have based the scenario on the following evidences. It appears that upon the inquiry of Parikshit Maharaj, the great sages were not unanimous in their decision as to what was to be done. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 19, Text 25 purport. According to Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, some of the sages present while Shukadeva Goswami was instructing King Parikshit were impersonalist philosophers. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 12, Chapter 6, Text 1 purport. So there are 6 kinds of philosophers. Out of them, only the Vedanta philosophy is compiled by Vyasadeva. So it is considered that Vedanta philosophy only establishes God's or existence of God. All other philosophies, they do not admit the existence of God. They are atheistic philosophies. Srila Prabhupada, lecture on Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela, 25, 40, 50. San Francisco, January 24th, 1967. According to Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 19, Texts 9 and 10, Gautama and Vyasadeva, the founders of the 2 of the philosophical systems, were present when Shukadeva spoke to Parikshit. However, there is no mention of Jaimini, Kannada, Kapila, and Patanjali who propounded the other 4 philosophies. Therefore, in the prologue, we represented their points of view through other sages present. The Sadharshanas, 6 Vedic philosophies or perspectives are as follows. Nyaya, logic, taught by Gautama, who was present in the assembly. Gautama asserts that obtaining valid knowledge of the external world and its relationship with the mind and self is the only way to attain liberation. If one masters the technique of logical reasoning and assiduously applies these in his daily life, he will rid himself of suffering. He asserts that matter exists eternally alongside the soul and God, whose only role in relation with matter which he organizes and maintains. Vaisheshika, atomic theory, taught by Kannada, who is not mentioned as being present. We have Bharadvaja as his spokesman. The Vaisheshika theory is very similar to Nyaya, with only 2 minor differences. In the Nyaya school, 3 types of evidences are accepted: perception, inference, and testimony of self-realized souls. The Vaisheshikas only accept the first 2, claiming that testimony equates to perception. Furthermore, there are minor differences in how they categorize matter. Okay, I don't know if you like all this information. You can obviously go to directly to Bhagavatam and study these things. It's here, as you can see, the 2nd canto, Canto 1, Sages of Naimisharanya. There are also books written by Suhotra Maharaj about these topics. A lot of scholars have done. We're not going to read the whole thing, okay? The 3 broad planetary systems, where it is situated on the Lord's universal body, planet names. This is amazing. Swargaloka is the head, the crown of Krishna's head. And the planet's name is called Satyaloka. And where it's this is neck or forehead, Tapoloka. Forehead, forefront of chest, Janaloka. Neck, Maharloka. Lower chest, Swargaloka. Bhuvarloka is in the navel, which is called Bhuvarloka as well. Bhurloka, waist, thigh, knees, stance, shanks, ankles. And then soles of the feet of the Lord is Patalaloka. And here is the whole description in the form of diagrams here. Narayana, who expands from Krishna, expands as Mahavishnu. From Mahavishnu comes Pradhana, over which he glances to produce the Mahatattva. Within the Mahatattva, the three modes of nature become active. In times, from the mode of ignorance comes Ahankara, or false ego. When Ahankara is influenced by each of the three modes, it produces various byproducts as shown in the table below. Narayana, Mahavishnu, Pradhana, Mahatattva, passion, ignorance, and goodness, the three modes of nature, and then the Ahankara in the modes. So influenced by goodness produces Jnana Shakti, and influenced by passion produces Kriya Shakti, influenced by ignorance produces Dravya Shakti. This is something I keep quoting often to understand our, even every day, how we work. So Jnana Shakti is Adi Dhaiva, category. Kriya Shakti is Adhyatma category, and Dravya Shakti is Adi Bhuta category. And then there are the demigods and what they rule, like Dhikpalakas, they rule the ears, and the ether. Ether is what is connected to the matter, and Vayu is skin, and what is the matter related thing is air and touch. Varuna is tongue, fire, form. Ashwini Kumara's nose, water and taste. Agni is voice, earth, fragrance. Indra is hands. Mitra, anus. Daksha, genitals. So much clarity. What the scientists know, nothing they know. Speculate. But Bhagavatam gives us the whole understanding of what is created, how it's created. All right. Part of Vishnu's body, mouth. What it produces power of speech. What's the deity? Agni. 7 layers of skin, 7 meters used to compose Vedic hymns. Wow, that's so beautiful. Tongue, varieties of foodstuffs. Nostrils, 5 kinds of live air. And Krishna's smelling power produces medicinal herbs. And the deity is Ashwini Kumaras. The Lord's sense of smell creates the earth element. And the Lord's breathing power produces fragrance. And the Lord's sense of sight produces form and fire. The eyeballs of the Lord produces heavenly planets. And the deity is Surya. And the ears of the Lord produces the ability to hear the Vedic knowledge. And the deity is Dhikpalakas, the 10 gods, directional gods. Dhikpalaka, Dik means direction. Pala means those who rule or protect. So Dhikpalaka gods means that all the directional deities, like northwest deity, southwest deity. There's in Vastu, you can actually find the names of each of the deity of the directions. There's so many deities of the directions. If you see that Vastu thing, you will see, if you divide that into 9, and there are 9 deities for every direction. So all those 10 gods there are. Sense of hearing of the Lord produces sky and sound, and the skin and sense of touch of Krishna produces the vibrational energy of all things, auspicious sacrifices, touch, sensation, and the deity is Vayu. So much personalism, there's so much work in making this material body function. So we must be very, very grateful to all these deities who are doing service, and we should engage our body and our mind in service of the Lord and not waste it. Manava Janma doddadu. To be born as a human being is so rare. So we are very lucky. Bodily, I don't know what is called, bodily hairs. The bodily hairs are the trees and vegetation and trees required for Vedic sacrifice. The beard and head hair of the Lord are the clouds. The nails of the Lord are the electricity, stones, and iron ores. See, there's no way to escape seeing Krishna everywhere and seeing Krishna in everything. Arms, the deities of the arms is the principal gods who protect the universe, the Lokapalakas. The footsteps of the Lord creates or produces shelter of the worlds. And the feet of the Lord produces protection from fear and fulfillment of our every need. And the genitals produces water, semen, rains, and sex pleasure. See, that's where it all comes from, originate, nothing. We're not separated. We belong to Krishna, and therefore Krishna's bodily parts, Mahavishnu's bodily parts are directly in relation to our experiences of this world and experiences of our senses. And the deity of the genitals, genitals of the Lord, and there's a deity ruling that's Prajapatis. The anus, the deities Yama and Mitra. Of course, anus is useful to excrete the things in our body that are not useful anymore, so that there is a cleansing process. It's very good for our cleansing. And then rectum, envy, misfortune, death, hell. That's where the time of death, that Vivekananda, when he died through the rectum, by the way, just in case you want to know the information. So it does not represent liberation. If somebody dies through passing urine and stool, it means that the jiva left from there. So it's kind of inauspicious, which means they'll come back because of their incompleted lessons. It's misfortune, death, hell, like that. So these are also have purposes. It's not, nothing is useless, nothing is meaningless. They all have purpose. Purify us. The back of the Lord is destruction, irreligion, ignorance, like that. The veins of the Lord are the rivers and the streams. The bones of the Lord are the mountains. The abdomen represents the resting place of materially annihilated living entities. They're all, waiting there. Heart, abode of the living beings' subtle bodies. Consciousness of the Lord manifests into religious principles, truth, transcendental knowledge. How beautiful is that? So these are more references in terms of what can be found in regards to where are the 10 subjects, and it can be found in the Srimad Bhagavatam. And this, they have quoted here Jiva Goswami's Tattva Sandarbha. Beautiful. Let's see how many pages this is. Very beautiful. We should read this. Anybody wants to read? Where are the 10 subjects? Regarding where the 10 subjects are to be found in Srimad Bhagavatam, the following is taken from Jiva Goswami's Tattva Sandarbha, section 61. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, it is not intended that the 10 topics be found one after another in each canto consecutively, because the Srimad Bhagavatam has 12 cantos. Nor should one construe that because the 10 characteristics are listed in the second canto, they can be found one after another from the canto 3 to 12. Because the three topics of Nirodho, Mukti, and Ashraya can be found in the 10th, 11th, and 12th cantos, but not in the English 8th canto. Sorry, but not in the 8th canto. The other characteristics are also not in order in the other cantos. Sridhar Swami affirms that Nirodha, or killing of unrighteous rulers due to their deviation from religion, is found in the 10th canto. To spread the glory of Krishna, the 4 types of Nirodha, such as Prakrita, was described earlier. The intention of Sridhar Swami is to indicate that Sri Krishna has been established as the chief Ashraya in the 10th canto. Thus, he asserts the 10th canto aims at describing the 10th item, Ashraya, as Krishna, who is the Ashraya or shelter of his devotees. In the opinion of Sridhar Swami, generally every canto touches on all 10 topics, either directly or indirectly. Indeed, the Bhagavatam 2.10.2 statement, Shrutena Athena Cha Agnyasa, these topics are described in the Srimad Bhagavatam either with the Shruti, directly or indirectly, is only fulfilled with this conclusion. These characteristics can be found in all the cantos of Srimad Bhagavatam. Therefore, the first and second cantos are also parts of this Mahapurana. We do not entertain the idea that these topics are explained successively. Is that clear? It's very important that we won't find, 10 cantos are there in 10 cantos, the 10 subject matters will be described one after the other consecutively. It doesn't work like that. It goes back and forth and it goes in its own sweet way. According to Jiva Goswami, in some cantos, certain topics are described more prominently and directly, while others are explained indirectly. In his text, Sarva Samvadini, Sri Jiva Goswami gives the following breakdown of the topics prominently covered in each canto. Sarga is in the second and third canto. I'm going to take a screenshot of this. Sometime we can do a summary of this as well. Sarga, first topic of Srimad Bhagavatam, is covered in the second and third canto. Visarga, second, third, and fourth canto. Sthanam or Vritti is third, 7th, and 11th canto. Poshanam is throughout. Yeah, it's true, right? So many examples of Krishna protecting his devotees. It comes again and again. Manvantara, 8th. Vamsha, Ishanukata, 4th and 9th canto. And then Vamshanucharita, 4th, 9th. Samstha, Mukti, 11th and 12th canto. Hetu, Uti, 3rd and 11th canto. And Ashraya in the 10th canto. Okay, I think we can end here. And these are very important, these references. Maybe tomorrow, we should read these tomorrow. Tomorrow we can go over these. And tomorrow we will end Canto 2. Canto 2 will be finished tomorrow. And then we can go to Canto 3. Probably tomorrow itself we'll start, or the day after tomorrow. So I highly recommend that if you have some time, you have Srimad Bhagavatam, just glance over what we studied. So many information, scientific information, logical information, practical information about the Lord's way of creating the universe. And I wish you all the best and happy Ekadashi. Hope you have a good Ekadashi. And take care.
You too, Mataji. Happy Ekadashi.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.